Shot call. International.
Cheers, man.
Yeah. Cheers.
Yes, gentlemen.
We back.
Good
And
afternoon,
welcome to
everybody.
the Old Talk United. A lot of people didn't know it when
Shot
Manchester
call.
United took on Liverpool last week, Monday, but the shot call. Manchester United, we dealt with Liverpool. And just to make sure that it wasn't a fluke, we dealt with Southampton yesterday. Cheers, gentlemen. Welcome to the Old Talk United.
Listen.
Inside the house with me, we got the man Devin, we got Mark Lewis, and we have a brand new person in the virtual bazaar here. Abbas, how are you doing, brother?
I'm very fine, Chad. Very fine. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, man.
Hold up.
Jamal, boy, you're breaking the news before we get to break the news, boy. Well, since you're doing it, Jamal, since you're doing it,
Nice.
you know, let me bring it out.
Antony and Antony, eh?
Here we go. Good afternoon to Martin Phillip on the inside. Kess as well on the inside. Juice. Boy, it is not juice. It is not juice. We're not drinking juice. We mix it in a cup, but it's not juice. Anyway, so
Hey, thanks,
gentlemen, we had some good news in the house. Antony, here we go from Fabrizio Romano. How you all feel about this move by Manchester United? I mean, it's been in the works for a little while.
That man better than Wassa, boy. Ask him to send the rain and rain falling now. That man better than Wassa, boy.
See, if you all had asked for Antony,
The sun's shining now. Or rain busting.
Wow.
Actually, that's where I got my name from, the Pakistani cricketer.
Wow.
Rain busting there now. You better than Wassa, boy.
Well, Mark, you asked for the renegade.
Yeah, I'm glad.
So let me read out this comment here from Jamal, and then we'll go around the table and get you all feelings about this signing. Antony to Manchester. Here we go. Agreement in principle with Ajax, 100 million euros. Contract until June 2027 with an option until 2028 to be signed tomorrow. MUFC contracts being prepared. It's RVDC historical record fee. Antony will be in Manchester during the week. Kess is saying long overdue, not studying the cost. It'll return 10 times over. Kess, you going on by Antony jersey? Or? You helping contribute to that covering that cost?
I am curious what squad number he takes, though. Like what numbers are available right now. So
that's another very interesting.
That's our next jersey I have to buy.
I will probably get Alessandro's first before I get Antony's, though.
So, Devin, what you feel about transfer, boy? A lot of people saying that 100 million is too much.
Well, you know what? It's look at the end of the window right now. Ajax did not want to sell, so of course, because now they have 3 days now to bring in a replacement for him. So I understand it from the Ajax standpoint. We could have gotten him in earlier if certain people had gotten transfers right from the beginning. But you know what? Better late than never. We got him in. I like what I see from him. I think he needs to work on his finishing a little bit more. But it reminds me of, if you all saw how Ronaldo was back in 2003. He was playing for Sporting. He was all tricks and step overs and whatnot, but his finishing was not there. So I am seeing things that are very similar in Antony right now. Everything I'm hearing is supposed to be Brazil's next big thing. So it will be nice, especially if Ronaldo stays, where you can get that mentorship from him to somebody who had been there, who has that same. He reminds me a lot of that right now. Will he turn out the same way? I hope so. There's no guarantees on that one. I am very curious as to which squad number that he will take. But you know what? I'm happy with it. I just wish that it wouldn't have taken protests to make this happen, and we could have gotten this done earlier. But At least we got him now. Better late than never.
I don't know that this protest had made it happen. We went in for Antony already in the market, and Ajax told us no. Plain and simple. Ajax said no, we're not selling him. You know what I mean? So how do you feel about this transfer?
Well, I think what we have to remember is Ajax has to pay a 20% sell-on fee to Antony's previous club. So whatever we think his worth was, or whatever they were looking to get for him, they would raise the price by 20% so that they're not out of pocket when they pay the sell-on fee. So basically, out of that 100 million, they're going to be working with 80 million to get a replacement. And anybody who they try to buy, whoever is selling that person knows that they have $18 million jumping up in their pocket. So they're going to raise the price of anybody Ajax tries to replace him with. So while we have reservations about the fee, and personally we may debate as long as we want about if he's worth that amount of money, the financial implications of the market made it so. I just hope the price tag does not weigh him down, as it has happened with certain other people whose name I don't want to mention to sour the mood on a good Sunday evening.
Thanks.
Mark, what do you think Antony is going to bring? What do you think Antony is going to bring to the squad?
Well, first things first. Ajax win.
Martin,
Ajax
if we
win.
so Martin, well, it seems since I started wearing this hat, though, we've been getting a lot of good luck, so I might have to wear it more often on the show.
You might not have glue that hat onto your head, yes?
Exactly.
Until we lose that
Right.
game, you might not have glue on that hat.
Correct.
I feel Antony gonna bring a different dynamic to the team. A kind of more explosive, bold dynamic. That is just my feeling. Seeing that is the first time in a long while we're looking for a left-footed, left-sided player. And we finally get it. So Ten Hag know what he wanted and why he wanted the player. And the good part about it, the player wanted to come. He actually forced that move.
I wanna throw this out there. I've heard some people say that, you know, a player going on Fabrizio Romano talking about how he want to leave. You know, I wouldn't say ill speaking the club to say he was ill speaking Ajax, but talking about private concordance between him and the board and saying what, you know, they promised me once a certain fee came in, they would let me leave and I want to leave. And, you know, there are some people that are kind of like, they don't really like that kind of drama. You know, the things that Antony was doing, because they always ask themselves, if he's at Manchester United and say Real Madrid or Bayern Munich come calling, will he do those same things to us? Anybody concerned about the Antony antics to get out, or do you tell yourself if he didn't force the issue on his side, more likely than not, this deal was not going to happen for any amount of money?
So, in this case, yeah, it does concern me a little bit right now, because it does kind of feel like he threw that club under the bus, and it kind of took to the point where it was like no going back for him, especially where you do something like that, where you go back a couple seasons ago. If you remember, it was a transfer deadline day. I can't remember the exact year. There was a player, Peter Odemwingie. Anybody familiar with this story, where he drove to another team's training ground because he thought that he was going to sign for that club, just to in turn have it rejected, had to go back to his old club and face all the fans again. So it kind of, in a sense, reminded me a bit of that. You look at how Lissandro wanted to leave, and he was also a professional the entire time. So he still showed up to training, still did everything he wanted to do. But I also see it from Antony's standpoint, where it seemed like Ajax were putting their foot down, where they were like, "You're not going. You're not going to go. We need you right now. We can't replace you." And he's like, "No, this is like my chance to go to this club, so I have to take it now." Now it's who knows what the future will hold with him now too. So hopefully that does not happen. Hopefully he comes out and just absolutely balls out for Man United right now and wants to stay for a long time. But time will tell. If he's putting in goals, all will be forgiven. So we will see.
All will be forgiven and forgotten, you understand? One of the things I look at is that we need players with dynamism who could beat their man on the wing and cause chaos, cause a defense to collapse on itself. Because once you beat that first man and you running down on a side, left or right, the defense has to close you down, and then it's going to open up space for the runners through the middle. We
Yeah.
know that Rashford used to do that. I don't know when last we've seen Rashford beat a man on the wing and cut in. Martial, we know, is capable of doing that. Once he gets on a slalom, he could do that. But these days, Martial plays down through the center. So the only player I've seen do that for Manchester United in recent time is Alejandro in the preseason, right? He was everybody that came on that way. He was taking them on and beating them.
Yeah.
We haven't seen him in the league as yet, but he's one player I know we're not selling out on loan and we're not interested in selling. So we know we're going to see Alejandro at some point. But Antony is definitely known for that. He's known for his antics on the wing. He's known for breaking through the lines. He's known for beating the first man. Let's hope that he could bring some end product. But I just think just that ability to break down defenses by beating men on the wing. You know, I remember the first time I saw was this guy who scored a goal in the Champions League from Real Madrid, the Brazilian.
Vinicius Jr.
Vinicius, yeah. I remember the first few times I saw Vinicius, I was like, he would beat win. You send one player at him on the wing, he beat him. You send two, you send three. Any among the players you send on the wing, he beat them. But his end product was not impressive at all. I wasn't impressed with him, but eventually he grew into it, and now he's an unbelievable finisher. Now his crossing, his end product is really good.
So that's Alexander-Arnold.
Antony may be a little ahead of Vinicius in terms of when he first came out on the scene in Real Madrid. I'm not talking about now, about when he first came out. Antony may be a little ahead, but I think that will add to our game, just that ability to have players that could run along the wing.
Yeah, another option, you know.
Now I do have a question now, without jumping the gun too much. Now that it seems that we are getting Antony, are you all willing to forget about Cody Gakpo now? Or you still hope we get him as well too?
No, we need a striker. We definitely need somebody who can play in that number 9 position. It seems like the young man can do it, although he's usually deployed off the wing for the majority of the times. We still do not know. As a club, we have nothing official what's going to be the future for Mason Greenwood. So we have to shelve anything we were planning for him, right? We have seen beyond the shadow of a doubt that Anthony Martial's health cannot be relied on to hold up. He had a great preseason and then missed the first 2 games of the actual season, right? So we need somebody, especially if we are planning to let Cristiano go, whether he leaves now or he leaves at the end of the season. We need somebody who can learn from him. Because the initial signs to me in the last season, before Mason was unable to continue playing, there seemed to be a sort of a mentorship role taking place between Cristiano and Mason. It seemed to be that he was willing to listen, willing to learn, willing to incorporate some things into his game from what he was seeing from who I consider to be the GOAT. I don't consider, as far as I concern, Argentina that sell beef, they don't sell goats.
Yeah.
Right? So that my GOAT, where's number 7 for my team? We need that young man who's going to come in, who is going to learn from him, who is going to be the viable option when Martial eventually breaks down during a season, and also perhaps spur Anthony Martial on to take his game to another level as well, because I believe he has another level he can get to.
Yeah, I always say that Martial in reaches full potential yet. He holding back. And I feel in my point of view, he needs to get stronger physically, that is.
Mentally.
To prevent some of them
not physically, mentally.
little injuries that's happening. Because he getting injured too easy. You understand? And I believe once you're physically stronger and the fitter again, the less injuries you're entitled to get. That is my belief. I could be wrong. People in the comments could correct me, but I just my belief and I from my experience. The fitter you are, the less injuries you will get. And himself, you get injured, your recovery period will be shorter. You understand?
Well, that does have some credence. You need, however, you need the right physio to make sure that you're doing the right exercises for the prospective sport, in this case, football. You know what I'm saying? I remember with Michael Jordan when he was shifting from baseball to basketball, he had to totally shift the way he was doing exercises and his weights because it's a different set of muscles he's using. So,
Correct.
but you need strong muscles. It does give you not just that ability to pop and move quickly and push off, but it also does help you taking the hits that as a striker you inevitably will get. I want to read this comment, which is why I have it up here. It says Gakpo
Yeah.
is a different dynamic of a number 9 to which we currently have. He's more of a center forward than both Rashford and Martial, tried and tested by Ruud van Nistelrooy.
All you needed to
Um,
say was that last sentence. That's all you needed to say, and you have me won over.
no, I think we have to consider the fact that after spending 100 million, do we really expect United to? Yes, we know we want a goalkeeper, right? That deal seems to be pretty certain, even though Newcastle wants an outright, they want us to buy him and not loan him for a season. We know the manager wants a right back, right? Um, we know we need a number 9, but I mean, come on, guys, 100 million euros we just spent there and about 85 million pounds. And do we really
Well,
expect any more business this summer, this window?
Well, I mean, if the numbers I'm hearing, Gapco is available for what 38 million or something like that, which I think is that's a decent gamble to take because if I remember correctly, that is the same right around the same price that we paid for Wayne Rooney back in the day. And so when you think about adjusting for like inflation now, like that to me is a in this market, I think that's a worthy gamble to take at this point, especially for somebody who is tried and tested under Ruud van Nistelrooy. And we all know just how good a striker he was for United. So
All right, all right.
we also club also needs to start selling people,
and sorry,
and this is one of the problems we have.
the next and so I agree with on that standpoint, but the next thing now that where I'm looking at is I would like to see we have two starters in every position. That way you have squad depth and it keeps the squad on their toes no matter what. So they can't say, I guarantee starter. So you know what, I will take this week easy, I can start no matter what. No, you need to be going 100% all the time. And God forbid if somebody gets injured, at least now we have somebody that's ready to go right back into that position. Because Lord knows right now we trust our line in Martial. Look how that's turning out for us right now. Yeah, when he's on his game, he's on his game. But the man is too injury prone, and I still think he needs to get a little bit more mentally stronger. Personally,
Strangely
so
enough, injury prone is never been something
Yeah.
used and associated with Anthony Martial. Let's hope that is not the case. Let's hope that maybe he was just pushing a little too hard to come back too quickly from the first little injury he gets, because we don't need an injury prone anybody. We don't hoping, keeping our fingers crossed. Two good performances from Varane, and men are already expecting him to do something in the week here, right? Because this would be, if he plays first in the middle of the week, it'll be the first time since Varane arrival that he played 3 games straight for Manchester United. So let's keep our fingers crossed for Varane and that, right? Um, Kes is saying, we have to remember the age of Gekpro and Antony. These players will go beyond for a manager like Ten Hag. He's
yes,
already proven time and time again with Ten Hag and young players.
no disagreements, with that.
I have always felt that we needed young, hungry players. I don't have a problem with Casemiro. I don't have a problem with Martinez. Martinez has shown that he may not be the youngest, right? He not teeny bopper, he not 21, 22, but he is aggressive and
Mm-hmm.
he is going to get stuck in wherever he plays. He is aggressive. He's already a man down for the badge, right? Casimiro has done it all, but he is not coming here for a payday and just to relax. You could see Casimiro is hungry to get to work, and his work ethic is off the charts, right? He's a high intensity work ethic guy, and his injury record is, to me, unbelievable, and better than Cristiano Ronaldo. The man don't miss football games, right? It's Casemiro. So
Yeah.
I don't all of our purchases so far, Ericsson has come into the side seamlessly. He has shown his quality. All of our purchases so far has been good.
It seems like we're going the Brazilian way now.
Well, everybody was
It's
saying the
between the
Dutch way, but
Brazilian and Dutch.
yeah,
We're
Well,
supposed to see a different with Casimiro.
if
We're
you
supposed to
happen
see a
back,
different Fred.
Hopefully.
if we go back to when we were very successful, right? And you looked at the core of our team at that point in time, and we're talking back to the days of Scholes, Carrick, Rooney. Core of the team was on the England national team. So you
Yeah.
come through the ranks, these guys, and this was the hallmark of the success of class of '92. They came up through the ranks playing football together. You're playing for the same club, you're playing for the same national team. So there is so much familiarity and trust in how each other plays. And I was listening to Scholes on Sky Sport after the game, and he was mentioning that the fact that he had so much trust in Carrick or Keane, whoever was playing alongside him, that all he had to worry about was getting forward, attacking, and scoring because he knew the
Yeah.
guy to the side of him or behind him would do what he's supposed to do. Now that we have Casemiro together with Fred, or as I like to call them, Fred Emiro, right? Because we're going to bury McFred now and we're going with Fred Emiro. You have that base there. Casemiro has perhaps 200% trust in what he will get from Rafael Varane behind him. And Cristiano Ronaldo knows what he's going to get from Casemiro and Varane behind him. You put Antony now on the wing, Fred and Casemiro understands what he can do because he does it with them for the Brazilian national team. Now we know that the media is not going to like it because of the English bias in the media. We know these guys are going to get targeted. We know that they're sharpening their axe with Ten Hag and these imports. But as always, we are Manchester United and we live to prove them wrong.
you know, you bring up a very important point, and I don't think people would recognize it. The English media,
I just excited to see how it all coming along.
the English
So
media
you see in
will
Ten Hag, he building bit by bit,
they will be
bit by
pulling
bit.
out their pitchforks. They
Mhm.
will be pulling out their knives for Ten Hag
Yeah.
because we have Harry Maguire and Luke Shaw, two regulars for the English national team, sitting on the bench
Yeah.
week after week. Even when they get play, everybody knows right now if they get sweat,
I
it's
like
just
Ten
a
Hag. He
little.
putting the
Also,
pieces of the puzzle together.
as much as I don't like to bring up race and things nowadays, the English media has that certain bias as well too. So you have two white English nationals who are not playing as well too in favor of other ones. And I'm only saying this because like you can look through like I'll use an example of a certain news source called the Daily Mail, where you could look at example of like Phil Foden buying a home at a young age and saying he's supporting his family. And you go to like, for example, a Raheem Sterling buying a home at the same age and he's just wasting his money early. That's the only reason why I bring it up in that standpoint. Because so it's like, yes, that English bias is waiting. They are waiting right now, especially when you drop those two. So
Apart from that too, Devin and Chad, let's look at the pundits who are often the loudest and most critical ones. Look at some of the clubs they would have played for, some of the systems they would have played under, some of the type of football they would have played. We can't even say look at what they won because 90% of them didn't win really much anything in their careers. For a man like Graham Souness, to be uttering things like Casemiro was never really a great player. Please, Graham Souness, hold up your Champions League winners' medals and let's compare it with Casemiro's. Right? Let's just check the last 5 years alone. We are going beyond that. Just checking the last 5 years. Hold up how much he won in the last 5 years and how much you would have won in your career. But these guys come out from a system where they played with, played like, and thrived alongside players of a style of Harry Maguire and Luke Shaw, and the style of football that Gareth Southgate plays for England. So for them, that is football. That is what it should be. That is how your players should play. And because he's English, and because we paid stupid money for him, and we made him the captain of the club, they expect that he's going to start from now until he is ready to leave the club.
So
That's when the club is ready to move on.
Did you all also notice in the last pre-match interview how Ten Hag blanked the Sky Sports reporter?
Yes, exactly. And he has already started. He has started siphoning them out. He has already started working around and realizing. And remember, in one of his press conferences, he had to tell somebody. He had to tell off one of the reporters in an earlier press conference. I can't remember if it was the first game or during preseason. He felt that the question that was asked of him was a little whatever, and he had to tell off the reporter. So he is going to figure them out. And eventually, it's going to get to the point where they're going to have to respect what the man is doing and accept that this is the person we are putting our support behind. The only people we have to worry about is the fan base. As long as the fan base is completely behind him, he'll be fine.
I like Andre's statement a little while ago. That it's not about Harry and Luke, is about Manchester United, right? Our
Correct.
formation and winning games.
Correct. I don't disagree.
And Martin is saying the English media is very biased. Look how they praise Alexander Arnold. Is he really the best in that position?
English media?
Alexander Arnold is not the only one. Every single time John Stones plays for City, it doesn't matter what he does or doesn't do. It doesn't matter how great Laporte is or whoever is next to him. These days is Diaz. John Stones is the best thing since sliced bread.
Well, they do that. They do that with any English player who shows a little bit of hype. So they will build them up, and the second they start slipping up, they will tear them down so badly.
This is why I'm saying we as United supporters have to be prepared for that English backlash. You understand? Because they will come at us as long as we, as the coach, right, a non-English coach, keeps English players on the bench. We've been hearing some talk. I don't know how official it is, so I wouldn't say it's official. But we've been hearing some talk about Maguire asking the club to go to Chelsea. One, I really think that's true. For the
right now, let's compete with the rain. This man sent too much rain by child boy.
You know why I don't believe that one now? Because they just got a bid accepted for Fofana. So you really think they're going to spend all that money to go and get him as well again now too? So I really don't think that has any warrant behind it. Now, if it is true and he wants to leave, I don't think the feeling is reciprocal for Chelsea right now. So you will have to, in other words, keep your mouth shut because you don't want to sit there and alienate the fan base even more by coming up saying something like that and ending up having to stay back there and you're supposed to be the captain.
No, I would hope the issue. Because if Chelsea, go ahead.
The reason I don't think that is true is because Harry Maguire being the captain of Manchester United is beyond a dream come true. That is like a fantasy life. And even though right now he is on the bench, he recognizes that, in life you have to take the good and the bad and think he has some kind of belief in himself. He must believe that he could come and make that difference, So I don't think he wants to leave on that basis. Being at Manchester United, despite the abuse that he gets, is a dream come true for Harry Maguire. He'll really need to feel that there's no way back for him into that starting 11, for him to really decide he wants to move. What you're saying, Zaire?
I honestly, I would. This is me. I can't speak for Harry as an individual. But if I were in this position, yes, as any athlete, you have to back yourself. The first person who has to believe in you is you. Because if you don't believe you could get there, you're never gonna get there. And football, cricket, basketball, any sport is littered with athletes who threw their talent away and wasted the opportunities they were given. If we think of Manchester United, we could call names like Ravel Morrison,
Yep.
right?
I,
So
I believe a couple more games on the bench, and he eventually will want to leave him.
Well, you know what? He could want to leave, but
couple
guess
more
what?
games on the bench and
Transfer window
transfer window
ends
closing now.
in 3 days.
Well, that too, eh?
what I want to
So-
hope for, I want to hope that Harry takes a long look at himself in the mirror, faces up to the reality that, look, as much as I may believe in my abilities as a defender, and let's be honest, he is not the worst defender to have passed through the club or the worst defender to play in the Premier League. He is the worst. He is very far from the best, but he is nowhere near the worst.
Yeah.
I think I
Because-
would like to see him.
He lacking what the coach want. And at that age, you can't teach him that. You can't give him speed. Speed is something. At that age, you can't, it's either you don't have speed or you have speed at that age.
And the
So-
other thing that we can't teach him, Mark, is we cannot, at this age, turn him into a leader of men if he does not have that in him.
True.
Cannot
True,
turn
true,
him
true.
into an effective captain. And my point is, I would love to see him do that. I would love to see him realize that he needs to go to whether it's management, ownership, the board, maybe not now, maybe later on into the season, and give up the armband. He needs to step down if he wants to release a statement saying that he prefers to focus on getting his way back into the starting 11 and cementing his team.
Yeah.
And he has given up the responsibilities of captain. I really don't care who they give it to at this point, but it can't be him, especially if he is going to be on the bench every game or for a considerable period of time.
This is an interesting comment from Martin Phillip here, because I was actually very curious about this now. Because when you go from Thursday coming up, we're playing 3 matches in the span of a week.
Mm-hmm.
So with Leicester on Thursday, and then Arsenal on Sunday, and then we have Europa League on Thursday. I was very curious now about how Ten Hag manages a squad, because it was really easy when you were playing once a week. Now it's the squad is time to relax. You do your preparations now. So I actually agree with that comment that I think we may see Maguire in place of Varane against Leicester right now. So we shall see.
It would have to be Leicester. You're not taking that chance against Arsenal.
Yes, and so that's what I was very curious about for this one. Like and I'm also curious for a couple other players as well too, because I want to see Garnacho get a run out at some point as well too. Now Leicester is they're a team right now that I still don't think they've done any outfield signings as of yet too. So
I didn't get a chance to see Devin, but who is the first opponent that we play in the Europa?
I think it's
It's not
Sociedad.
Sociedad,
we
the
playing
Spanish.
Sociedad.
Real Sociedad.
Yeah.
Because I was saying if we were getting one of the other teams up first, would have been a perfect time to give Alejandro and some of the young guys a run out, especially if it was against one of the other teams.
But also, with that being said, now I am not thinking about that. I am thinking about Leicester on Thursday. So I'm thinking, how do you rotate the side correctly to make sure that you get enough to get a result against Leicester, while also making sure the squad is fresh enough to play against Arsenal come Sunday. So this one is really curious to me.
If it was me, I don't know. Chad might agree with me. I would start Casemiro on Thursday against Leicester. Right? Start him alongside Fred and let's get an idea of what's going to happen there. Right? If it means he has to come off at halftime or sometime later on, hopefully we'll be comfortably ahead and the team will be looking good. If we have to play Harry, you start him on Thursday, because despite what we say about Arsenal, we can't deny the fact that Jesus is in good form.
Correct.
So I'm not putting Harry Maguire in the back to deal with him on Sunday.
No.
So, but he also still now has to go against Jamie Vardy, who is also still looking just as good as before. Like I feel that man does not age. So and he's quick. So at his age.
We could. You could tell Martinez that Jamie Vardy is his responsibility, right? And you can assign Martinez to Vardy. If Vardy is in the box, Martinez has to stick with him. If he's outside the box, well, Casemiro or Fred will have to pick him up, as the case may be. right? And you can help Harry in that manner, right? So if you have to look to rotate, that's what's going to happen. If Cristiano has to start the game, it's better he starts this Leicester game now because clearly
Yeah.
Marcus through the middle is not going to work,
You know,
right?
I agree with what you guys are saying that we should expect some kind of rotation, right? However, what 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 Rollins is saying here is also a critical thing. Eh? You know that Ten Hag wouldn't risk bringing back Maguire anytime soon. He's now getting a backline balance, and
Yes,
I think
then
that
but
is.
then you could also burn out the side too quickly, which happened with all these teams. So you have to make sure that you play it correctly. So
I
It,
understand, but I am thinking, he could decide, all right, I'm gonna keep my starting my back four, and I'm gonna make some changes 60th minute. So guys, I need you all to go out there, put 2 goals on this team, give us a lead, so that when I bring Harry in, when I bring Shaw in off the bench, when I bring Wan Bissaka in off the bench, we already in a position of strength.
Yeah,
You all
the
think
game
that's
is
a
already won.
possibility? Or you think
well,
he's just going to start
you know,
different players from the onset? No, I agree with what you all saying. If he's going to make changes, Leicester is the game to make the changes,
and cast the
right?
transfer deadline
Not
is Thursday at
Arsenal.
midnight. Third. Well, actually, for us, it would be Wednesday night at seven
Arsenal,
o'clock. So
that game against Arsenal, we had a player, that same defense
Yeah,
for the
and
last
and
two
then
games.
also
Harry
too, we
can't play
want
that game.
another person I expect
agreed.
not to see play on Thursday is Ericsson. Ericsson has played every minute of football. Well,
you know,
not every minute,
Yeah.
almost
he will need
every minute
managing.
of
His
football.
minutes need managing, right? Now
Yeah, I
the
don't
thing is,
expect to see Ericsson on Tuesday.
well, this is where we start Casemiro because remember you would play Casemiro where you have started Ericsson for the last 2 games, assuming that you're leaving Bruno in the number 10 role, right? Now, like the same thing with Rollins. Rollins is making a good point, but now it's going to come down to me, the ultimate decision of this is if Ten Hag is confident that Rafael Varane will hold up, having played Saturday, then he's going to play Thursday, Monday, Tuesday, Sunday, and the following week in the Europa. Because if we're playing Sociedad in Europa, first game up, he's going to want to go with his strongest possible team to get a good
Agreed.
start out of the blocks,
Agreed. Agreed.
right? So you're going to ask Rafael Varane to play 3 consecutive games in a short space of time, having just played back-to-back 90-minute games.
That is we
Right?
game paid for.
I agree with you. I agree with you. But we have to understand what we're dealing with. The reality is we know these
Yeah.
guys. We know
I
their
know,
health. We
I
know what
just be it.
now
That is the
I'm,
work. That is the work. Day
I'm
after
looking at
day after day. Go
my
and put
boy
on bricks.
Kes has a nice interesting take on it there, putting Van de Beek in as the number 10. But what do you all think about Donny? I would have not been surprised.
Don't easy forgotten man.
This is it. I was prepared to see the renaissance of
So
Donny.
I think that it's weird with the Donny situation. Like a lot of the games that we've played have been way too close to change things up and take risks. But like if we were up big, for example, on this weekend against Saints, I think we would have seen Donny in that game. But because the game was so close, it was only a 1-0 margin that you did not want to risk it for a match like that. So
Now,
this could actually it could actually make sense against a weakened Leicester side to see Donny in at some point come Thursday because it's also rotating the side, giving starters rest, and it's like okay, you want to prove your worth, go out there and prove it now.
but Devin, it could backfire badly because let's say he starts Donny in the number 10 on Tuesday, and Donny has a stinker, and he holds him up at halftime. That's literally the nail in the coffin for his Manchester career.
Yeah. But again, that is what Ten Hag gets paid for. He is the one that's there at the training session, seeing what's happening, the confidence levels. We're not there. All we could do is speculate from here. So, but I also like we all know we are starting 11 right now. It looks good. They're coming into form. They're starting to get some chemistry together. But it's also what do you do with the rest of the side now? How do you rotate them in? How do you balance out players who could potentially be on the brink of getting injured or playing too much while also keeping everybody happy? So this is the part where I am curious to see what he does, and that's why it's so hard for me to pick a lineup for Thursday.
Yeah, because remember, there's no international break at the end of August because that has been cancelled.
Not straight through.
And we're going to be playing twice a week for a lengthy period of time because we have to fit in fixtures before the World Cup because everything is shutting down. And it won't shut down just a week before World Cup. It'll shut down a little earlier than that because players have to travel. They have to link up with their national teams, get into training camps, all of those things, right? So now what you got to do, if you really play Donny at the 10 and you put, as I said, start Fred and Miro behind him, automatically Donny is freed of worrying about defensive duties and responsibilities because of the two guys behind him. And the two guys behind him are accustomed playing together for their national team, so they understand what each other can do. Now, I know people had a little laugh over some of the positive things that Casemiro said in his interview when he was speaking about Fred.
Yeah.
But this is the Fred that he knows, the Fred that he plays with on the national team.
Is a different Fred.
Exactly. It's almost like it's Fredinho when he's playing next to Casemiro.
So I have always said that Fred with Manchester is not the same Fred with Brazil. A totally different Fred.
Fred with Manchester is the same as Fred the Red, the mascot.
Yeah.
Right? It's about the same skill level.
and Fred with Brazil is at a certain point in time in the World Cup qualification playoff and thing there, it was Fred and anybody else on that Brazil team.
Right? And listen, whether we are I am a Brazilian supporter, whether you are a Brazilian supporter or not, you have to understand that is one of the hardest national team starting lineups to break into in world football. So if the man is getting a consistent run of games, he has to be earning it. And he's certainly not earning it. That's my boy. That's my boy. He has to be earning it.
All these Brazilians are saying no anyway here, but all these Brazilians, I need to get some spray all yes. All these Brazilians, oh gosh.
Don't say it, El Presidente. We'll welcome you when we lifting the trophy in December. Don't worry.
Don't worry yourself. You're always welcome.
But on a side note, I want to throw out one little bit of pick on here, right? There was actually, I found that site somewhere that was allowing you to do, when the World Cup draw was done, a predictor who you think would win the groups waiting. And the way I did it, my final ended up being Portugal and Brazil. Now, if that happens, gentlemen, I think I might have to shelve my Brazilian royalty on that day, you know, if it means CR7 is in a World Cup final.
Wow.
If Portugal playing Brazil, you go for Portugal for a day, that's what you're saying?
We had a review our Brazilian membership.
Chad, I will do
the only thing you have in common there is a language because
Chad, I'm going to the committee and review this man Brazilian membership.
I would do it.
I'm not the Brazilian committee, so I don't care.
It would be worth it.
Portugal too.
If Portugal and Brazil end up in a World Cup final, it's hard luck CR7.
No. You see, for me, I want to silence Messi Nation. I want Cristiano to hold that World Cup trophy up and let them talk now.
I agree with you, but not against Brazil.
Ideally, I would love them. I would love Portugal to face Argentina and let the two of them settle it in a World Cup final once and for all.
That's the next World Cup. Next one, not this one.
But the two of them will be gone by then. So
I definitely can't see.
To me, that doesn't settle, you know. That doesn't settle because that was to create a trophy for Messi to win what it was there. You know. Some fat match trophy Argentina win.
They resurrect a dead trophy.
Yeah.
Let's give this man a trophy, you know.
Yeah. The finale.
And certain men, we won't call name because name is for tombstone.
Yeah, I
certain
remember.
men basking in that glory, you know.
But then you know what they argue? They argue the Nations League was the same thing as well too. So I can see it from both ways.
But this World Cup, they'll feel pain.
Well, I mean, I have a feeling that France will have a chance, boy. I mean, I'm being realistic. I think France will have a side. I think Belgium will disappoint once again. I think England is going to come up short right now because Gareth Southgate's trust his side right now. A lot of them are not playing well right now. Like where do you fit Grealish in right now? Grealish can barely even make the starting 11 for City.
Now, listen.
Sterling
I'm sorry.
is in form right now. Pickford, I think he's having okay right now, but Ramsdale is not playing well. But Henderson is going to fit in there. Maguire is not playing well. Alexander-Arnold should be nowhere near the England side right now. Trippier scoring free kicks, so it's all over the place right now with the England side. So I think Southgate is going to have a real tough time picking his squad.
Yeah,
So,
I will probably.
I think they get out, but I don't see them going far.
I'm probably going to have people messaging me busily when I make this comment, but the attitude of English fans has doomed that team. They do not deserve to see England lift a World Cup. Not after the way they treated Rashford, Sancho, and Saka in that penalty shootout from the Euros. You see that treatment meted out to those three gentlemen.
them curse for life.
They curse. They are cursed. I have no problem with the women's team winning because our United girls were ripping it up on that team. And that is a team. That is not even about egos. It is not about anything. Those ladies just...
That was real distasteful, boy. Immediately after,
So
them men started to get trolling.
It's not trying to defend any of the racism at all. But it's like if that was anybody from England right now who did that, yeah, they deserve the full extent of the law. But unfortunately, when you have those online trolls, a lot of them sometimes come from different countries who go hide behind some avatar where they don't have the picture up and go out there and speak like a freaking coward. Like go and say it to their faces. Go show up there in person and say it and see how that turns out. Don't hide behind something. Show your face, show your name, see who it really is. And that's just for the internet trolls who did it. Like, because I think the majority of the comments were internet trolls, but there were some from England who did that, and they deserve to be hung, drawn, and quartered. Bring back the old time punishment that England's famous for. As far as I'm concerned, racism has no place in society today. For all of them who did that, go somewhere with that.
Guys, I wanna bring the conversation back away from the international football for a little bit. Martin is asking what is the real depth of the United side, and one of the questions that I wanted to ask, we heard talk that if we get Antony, we may send Elanga out on loan. Do you think we should do that?
No.
Not
until the January transfer window. Because we need to see how much depth we truly have between now and then.
You see, apart from that, Chad, if you're sending Elanga out, if you get Antony, right, you're going to keep Elanga as a backup on the wing, not through the middle, right? And the people who would be cover would be guys like Ahmad and Pellistri. Pellistri is currently injured and can't play and can't go out on loan. And apparently there's no real demand for Ahmad at this point in time. So we have a decision to make with him. If you send Elanga out, the people behind him in the pecking order can't step up. So you're going to weaken your side.
Exactly.
Now, he hasn't been setting things on fire. But at the end of the day, he has not been embarrassing himself greatly either. So he has been capable enough.
Elanga is a player you got to keep.
For now.
You got to keep him for now.
I think I like about Elanga.
Because remember, we also have another winger who we're waiting to see unleashed as well, Garnacho. So with that, it goes along. Yeah, if we're playing well, and he wants to get minutes, maybe ahead of if he wants to get minutes, whatever else, you can send him out on loan after January transfer window. But we need to make sure we can get through that stretch of matches first, because it's going to be so jam packed up to that point with matches to accommodate for the World Cup at that break we're going to have. We need everything we can get, all the depth that we could get. So
one of the things I like about Ten Hag seems to me that his attitude is, you're a veteran, you're here longer. You are regular in the starting 11. I'm going to give you the opportunity first. We didn't like seeing McFred run out in the first two games, but yeah, he
had no choice.
He knew he was looking for somebody else, but he gave them the opportunity. He put Fred out, he put Harry out there. He put Shaw out there, even though he brought in last year. Right? Let me see what you guys could do. And when you guys fall short and I put other people in, as long as they step up to the plate, that is it. You lose your spot. I am saying that Rashford and Sancho have to get it together because Garnacho and Antony are not going to let their opportunities slide when they get them. So Sancho and Rashford better start producing regular, consistent performances because at some point in time we're going to see Garnacho. Whether it's Europa, whether it is
Cup games,
midweek games, we are going to see Garnacho. And I think a lot of United supporters are going to be calling for him to start when he gets on that pitch.
There's already a whole bunch calling already, so
yeah, because you don't care. No?
Yeah, well, it's one thing calling now, right? What based on preseason? I'm talking about when we see him. You could imagine Garnacho come out there and rip somebody a new one on the wing and fire in a cross and a goal score. Man, gonna be like, hey, bench Rashford. I telling you, man.
Yeah.
I don't want to see Rashford again.
But do you also think that a part of that is also to protect Garnacho? Because like what you see is like you have these youngsters that come out, they burst onto the scene, they do something great. Second season, defenders figure out how to play against them, and then they go through this like they lose some confidence. They have to reinvent themselves as. And how many times have we seen that? So I wonder if that has
that could be true, because remember when Rashford now burst onto the scene.
Martial as well.
Yeah, because Rashford had Arsene Wenger peeping to come out the house, asking if Rashford outside before he come out.
Right.
Yeah, so because back-to-back game, he scored.
Our last three major breakout teenagers were Rashford, Martial, and Greenwood. Agreed? And in each of their careers, something has happened to negatively impact their performance on the field. So
Greenwood being the worst of them all.
Right? So maybe what Devin is saying has merit, and that maybe the club is going to be a little reluctant creating that next breakout star for fear of something happening down the road. Because as beside the point, I have long believed that anytime you are making players that young, that wealthy, something is wrong. Something is wrong. You have to be sure they have the support system and the mentality to deal with what is coming off the pitch. Because they become targets. They become easy targets. The other thing I want to ask you is, quickly, I believe that a lot of the decisions Ole Gunnar Solskjaer had to make were dictated to him from above him. I believe he didn't have the legs to stand on to tell people, no, I am not going to play this guy, I'm going to play that guy, or I'm going to drop this person. Do you all think if that situation happens with Ten Hag, he is the type of manager who can stand his ground? For example, if he is being told you have to continue playing player X because board says so, and he said, nah, I drop him, I play my boy.
Yeah, I as of now, 100%, I believe Ten Hag he's going to flat out say, the only person I have to answer to is me. I don't have to answer to the media. I don't have to answer to anybody else. It's my job to pick the squad. It's my job that's on the line. I will pick the squad that I feel is the best out there. Now, if I have to make some shot changes to do that, then so be it. But I feel he is a type of manager to do that. From everything that I am seeing with his preparations, the way he speaks to the media, especially with the changes he's made, he gave players their chances already and realized things, made changes, and has worked in our favor. With that being said, I've also told fans I've said this loads of times on this channel. There is going to be some growing pains along the way while he figures it out. You need to get through those growing pains to understand it is a part of success. Success does not come overnight. I know that we're now in a generation of instant gratification with everything online and ordering stuff, getting it next day, things like that, ordering online, have it delivered to your home. When it comes to this football stuff like this, there is not going to be overnight success. It's going to take a little bit of time. So you have to go along. You have to trust in him. And until he proves us wrong, he has my full trust. So to answer your question again, yes, I think he will be the one to go ahead and say, yeah, I will drop this, but I don't care what you say.
Because the other thing he's going to have to go ahead, Frank.
I agree. I think Ten Hag is the kind of person who get a call. Hey, people on the board want to know what's going on. Why we have all our money in Ronaldo and Harry on the bench. And fellas need to start. And Ten Hag would be like, yeah. And then just play who you want to play. Right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, they can start, yeah.
Right?
Explanation will always be English not so good. Lost in translation.
You understand? Something.
The other thing he's going to have to get with is he's coming from Ajax, and a league where you pretty much had 2-3 teams that were at the top of the league. And on any given Sunday, if you play in numbers 18, 19, and 20, is a stroll in the park. Despite what we might think of the promoted teams and the teams at the bottom of the league right now in England, it's never a stroll in the park for anybody playing against.
Only league in the world with 20 could beat number 1.
Everybody in the Premier League, every manager to the Premier League learns that. Right? There are no easy games.
None.
In the Premier League. Everybody learns that. My concern, just to touch on what you're talking about Garnacho and youth before. My hope, and the point that Zahir brought up about, young players hitting stumbling blocks in their careers at United is very valid. My hope, you remember that during the preseason, there was some talk about Garnacho coming to training late and a little disciplinary issue. And I am hoping, I don't know, but I am hoping that is not what is keeping him out of the side. Because I know Ten Hag, and I think all of us as men, we know when you identify pride and arrogance, and you're not talking about confidence, self-confidence, we're talking about real pride and arrogance in young players, you have to snuff it out early. Because if you allow that to fester, that player is going to cause a problem for you. So I am hoping that it is not that is keeping Garnacho out of the team, because I realize, I look through the team, the app, and I look through the pictures that they post up, because there's always some kind of PR going on at Manchester United. And even though Garnacho's name is always on the team sheet, you very rarely see images of Garnacho in training. You very rarely see videos with him. It's almost like if he doesn't feature at all in any kind of central.
There seems to be an instruction to put him in the limelight.
Yeah, when they even showing people in the t-shirts, you don't see Garnacho, you don't see him at all. And I am hoping that it is not a matter of him, feeling a little too full of himself, because he has too much talent. It'll be a real crime shame if that keeps him back in this team, because I don't think Ten Hag is going to allow him, regardless of his talent, to go out there and play himself if he really has those kind of issues. So I'm really hoping that is not the case, and I hope we see him sooner rather than later.
And there's precedent for that, because this is where senior players in the dressing room have to step up. When Cristiano Ronaldo arrived at Manchester United in his first spell, two of the words that a lot of the commentators like to use were show pony, because of what he was, how his style of play, and what it is he was interested in doing. I cannot remember which one of the senior players from that time I was listening to an interview with or reading something, and they were saying that in the dressing room at that time there was one big mirror, and Cristiano took the locker right opposite the mirror, because the vanity, the style, the brands, the image. And there were senior players that pulled him square and helped him. Apart from the father-son relationship he had with Sir Alex, there were senior players who pulled him square. There's a story about the coach at that point in time, when they were having training exercises, they would call fouls, and Cristiano keep trying to do his step overs and his tricks and his flicks. And they stopped calling fouls on him, and he kept getting kicked until he realized, I have to change how I'm playing.
Yeah. Roy Keane was one of them, man.
Roy Keane was one, Giggs was one, I think Ferdinand was one.
And so let's hope, as I said, that culture, because I don't know if you all notice, Cristiano Ronaldo has stopped pouting on the sideline. He tries to smile. He puts up nice things when we win. He puts up stuff on Instagram. You know, he has come to realize that I can't push around this coach. If I have to survive here, or if I have to get the move I want, I
Not to
have to have
cooperate.
the right attitude. And
Yeah.
let's hope that that could rub off on the likes of Garnacho and even Antony. Yes, Antony knows Ten Hag, but Antony also seems to me the kind of player that feels like, you know, I want to be the flair person, you know, I want to be that flashy person. So let's hope that the culture that the likes of a Casemiro and a Martinez and even a Bruno Fernandes, keep your head down, do your work, you know, that kind of attitude. Let's hope it rubs off on these players, because we don't need these players' careers being derailed because of poor attitudes.
Ultimately, getting Casemiro in before Antony would prove a blessing, because he'll already be there waiting to talk to him when he gets in.
I am telling you, people may not understand it. Antony knows he had a very good stint at Ajax, yet still he hasn't gotten that call up for Brazil. Pereira got a call up for Brazil on the back of a couple good performances at the beginning of a season for Manchester United. Antony knows that his likelihood of getting into that Brazil team is elevated the minute that you get, the minute you're part of a Manchester United setup, right? You don't be part of a top team, right? Regardless of the fact that we're in Champions League, you don't be part of a top team and don't make it into the Brazil national team, right? So he is not just looking at performing for United, he is looking at making that World Cup team.
Exactly.
So he's going to need to go out there and put on some special performances to do that.
Add very to that. Very special performances. Yeah.
So, gentlemen, it's around that time you're looking to shut it down. I'm just going to go around the table and, you know, have your final say. Mark, we'll start off with you.
Well, this week coming here, I just hope Leicester is Thursday. I just hope we could keep the momentum flowing and go from strength to strength. Hope
Mark,
Antony.
you're coming up to 63 on Thursday.
Nah, training Thursday. Training a school team. But faith in mind, something might happen. Might have a goldfish to feed Thursday and I might can't go. Yeah. Anyhow. So, Leicester is Thursday. And I just want to go from strength to strength now. Because other teams, so-called big teams, starting to watch it. Because I in a chat. And first, these men just focus on Man U. They doesn't even know what's going on with their own team. First thing I'm on pub this morning is breaking news, Antony to Manchester United. But yesterday, you're asking, wait now, is how much games Darwin Nunes get banned for? And that's your team. And they don't even know that. So these other teams starting to get worried. They might want to admit it, but they're starting to get worried. All right, so Thursday, I just hope we have our next easy 3 points in. I wouldn't say easy because football funny. We have our 3 points in the bag Thursday. After Thursday, we just keep climbing the table and putting the pressure on these so-called big teams now that on top of the league and bumping the gum. The elephant in the room now, yeah. The elephant on the tree, yeah. That team. And then when we meet that team now, they get a comfortable 3 or 4.
Get them the first loss. The first
Yeah,
loss. For the season.
yeah. That team. I ain't gonna call no name because name is for Tombstone.
I personally believe that we will be their first loss of the season. But
yeah,
we have a lot of time between now and then. We have a whole week, so we wouldn't get ahead of ourselves. Here.
Understand? So I just want to go from strength to strength and trust in the manager because he putting together a puzzle. He buying every piece and he putting together his puzzle. So we just trust in the man and don't press the panic button now, man. It has some men still doubting though. Let me don't doubt. Let me just trust the process and go with the flow.
I hear that.
On Thursday, I want to see us start quickly. I want to see us get out the blocks fast. I want to see us have a comfortable commanding lead before halftime so that we can now focus on game management in the second half, find a comfortable way to secure the victory, see it out without having to be under pressure the way we were at the end of the game against Southampton. That is going to build confidence. And come Sunday, I want to put it on record that not even Jesus is going to save Arsenal on Sunday, because I think that cocktail booked. It is booked. They are going to come to Old Trafford and they're going to leave with their tail between their legs. And I know I have some Arsenal partners probably listening to this. Some of whom going to blow up. But I will be so brave as to say 3-0 in their ass on Sunday.
Wow.
We like that, man. We like that, Devin.
So first off, can we put up that comment from Martin Phillip again real fast? If something is working, don't change it. So
Ben, you see that hat?
Yes.
You had to glue that hat as Chadsey on your head.
Correct. So yes, the hat, as long as things still working out well, yes, apparently is a good luck charm. So this will stay on. Yes. Next thing right now, we will find out in the next week how good of a manager Ten Hag is, in my opinion. Because you're gonna have Leicester right now. If he rotates the side too much, don't be surprised if Leicester pulls off a shock victory right now. Because again, it doesn't matter whether United is good or bad right now for some of these teams or some of these players on these other teams. This is like their cup final, especially if they're looking to move to another team when they know a whole global audience is watching. They know this will be the opportunity to impress. So yeah, I am very curious right now. I cannot pick the side right now, and I am going to be bothered about this throughout the week. Hopefully, I have something in time for our match preview coming up later on in the week. Next thing right now, I have to say this so that nobody says I'm being biased about this right now. Don't forget about our giveaway for the signed shirt.
Can't forget that. Are we forgetting that? I don't make a space on.
We all know how West Indians is be though. Where you say,
I don't make a space on the wall for that already.
You try to keep it for yourself, blah blah blah. So I am putting it out there right now. Spread the word. 10,000 subscribers, I give away that shirt by the end of the season.
Devin, I done a space on the wall for that already. Can't we forget that? Can't forget that.
Well, you know what? I am just putting it out there so that nobody says that I am being unfair or anything like that. So all of we know how it is. So yes.
Yeah, man. We all looking forward to that giveaway. Hopefully, between now and the end of the season, we'll hit that milestone. What do I have to say to close the show off?
This one going and fog up the
place. Yeah.
What I say, we coming out the rest of the league. Arsenal. Look us in the rearview mirror, we coming.
Yeah. Yeah, man.